Let's get started. So for folks just joining, my name is Pete Crowley. I am the head of growth here at RB2B. I've been subbing in for Adam while he's out on paternity leave for this event. Adam will be back next week, back to regular scheduled programming. I will join the event sometime maybe in December to announce some cool initiatives. But Ryan is joining us as our last guest of my guest slot. Ryane Tulley, co-founder of Pitchlane. Ryan, I should stop introducing you. Please introduce yourself to all the wonderful folks here.
Hello. Well, I'm glad that I was chosen for the grand finale is how we're going to frame it.
Absolutely.
My name's Ryan, and essentially I'm one of the co-founders of Pitchlane, and I'm sure we'll get into exactly what Pitchlane does, how it started, and all of that jazz. But essentially, it comes down to, if you want to get more out of your outbound efforts, whether that's cold email, cold LinkedIn DMing, and you don't have unlimited amounts of time to pour into doing the outreach yourself, what we've done is we found a way to automate the most effective form of cold outreach, which is video. And we've built a software all around that use case.
That's awesome. I am a huge fan of video. I think it is the single most underutilized outbound tactic today. Ryan, you're frozen on my screen. Can someone drop into the chat and oh, we're back. Was that me? Was there a fault on my end? Or was okay, I think something's happening on my end. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Is it? I saw all good. Okay, let's plow forward. Apologies there. So Ryan is going to take us through Pitchlane. As I said, this is going to create, or as he said, Pitchlane allows you to create personalized videos at scale. So we have talked about, and Adam has talked about a lot about outbound being dead, outbound's changing. Ryan and I firmly believe outbound is changing substantially. And it's really not the channel of outbound that's dead, whatever. It's the tactics within that channel that are changing. A lot of these tactics, like cold email, I'm talking high volume cold email, cold calling. I use those tactics when I started out my careers as a BDR. But the most effective tactics nowadays for a lot of folks are not that. So we're going to get into that. We're going to showcase a whole workflow. Pitchlane just released an integration with RB2B that is live. You can actually run this workflow after we hop off today. The place we're going to start, though, no outbound campaign is complete without a good lead magnet, without a good little piece of intrigue that helps folks engage with your company initially. So there's a lot of different ways you can run lead magnets. You can have exclusive lead magnets, which have really been the bread and butter of online sort of content withholding over the past 10 years. But nowadays we're seeing different things. People are running really creative lead magnets. It's not necessarily withheld behind some sort of lock or whatever content feature lock. Ryan has built a very interesting lead magnet here. So I'll give a quick preface too. We're really showcasing this as like a lighthearted, interesting, kind of creative lead magnet. We're not telling you to go out and build this exact thing. We're here to inspire creativity. So Ryan, I will stop talking. Can you show us this lead magnet that you built? By the way, I got a really rude email from him this morning. I want to
as have a few people. So essentially what I built was a LinkedIn roaster. So you submit your LinkedIn and then an AI will analyze it and return an email where they're essentially roasting you on LinkedIn. And essentially the main reason why I actually built this was to show just how much we can do nowadays with current outbound tools. So in terms of how outbound is changing, I could talk forever about that, in terms of the fact that, you used to have just mass outreach here and hyper-specific outreach here. This was done really by like a salesperson. But really what's happening is they're kind of meeting in the middle, even maybe a bit more here, because we have just so many different things that we can do. And that really underscored by our ability to create lead lists in ways that are unique with AI, to personalize in ways that are unique. And essentially that all that culminates into creating this lead magnet. So let me just put it in the chat. So essentially what it will do, and I'd recommend everyone to have a quick go and fill it out. It takes like less than 30 seconds. Essentially what it does is it will go, do you know what, why don't I actually just
You want to share your
share my
screen?
screen and I can show you how I built it in Clay. And a lot of you will probably, who use Clay, did the link come through for you guys? Someone has just said, oh wait, let me put it into.
Oh, to everyone. Yeah, I see it under host and panelists. That's why.
Would you be able to share it? I don't think I have the option to share to everyone.
Yes.
So
What is going
I,
on?
maybe if I share it with Santosh, he can perhaps share it with everyone in the chat.
Yeah, Santosh, I'm going to drop it. Oh, Santosh, actually, you can see it in there. I'm going to drop it to you in Slack. In the meantime, Ryan, so, let's plow.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Santosh. So if I just share this. So this is actually built all in Clay. So essentially what happens is when someone fills out the form here, this will send a webhook into Clay. And then I can use a tool like Prospeo, for example, to then enrich with contact data from that LinkedIn URL. So in a normal cold outbound sequence, you would probably just go from LinkedIn profile, you get the email, and then maybe write something with AI, send it over to a tool like Pitchlane as well, and then you can go from there. But here we've decided to do something. Oh yeah, we can see some submissions coming through. And essentially what I did here is I created an option where you could choose whether you want the AI to be kind or mean. Then I set different run conditions. So if they say kind, it goes to kind. They say mean, it goes to mean. And essentially what that does, it will then roast their profile. So some of you guys is coming through now. And if you just if I click on one of these as an example, you can see here, it comes up with quite a funny reaction to, you know, what your headline is or the body or your recent experience. And then from there, it will automatically, once it's finished running, like for Joseph, it will then automatically shoot that out to, you know, you could send this to Zapier, Make, any no-code automation, or just straight into Pitchlane. And then from Pitchlane, it will go into a outbound tool. And so essentially the thing is here, this is really just to show you just how much is possible. And this is not like, I'm by no means any good at coding or building or anything like that. Yet with just what we have for outbound, I'm now able to do this, which is just super easy. And then from this point onwards, now that we can go in with more AI, you can use AI to filter out leads that aren't a good fit. You can use AI to write unique things. You know, you probably won't choose to just insult people in your emails, but that's what you can do. And then once you have that, you then can push that information and those leads into a tool like Pitchlane, which is going to do which is going to give you even further personalization, where you can personalize with relevance and in a way that's just way more engaging. So that's a quick 101. I'm sure we'll get into more stuff that you can do with Clay, but yeah, that's just the cool thing I wanted to show you. And if people want to share maybe some funny comments that they got in the chat, I'm sure that'll be quite enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people are dropping in some funny lines. So which is what, and I want to highlight here, which you mentioned, like, this is really, Clay can be a hub, or, you know, you don't necessarily have to use Clay. If you're collecting someone's email address, for whatever, you know, whatever reasons are, that is a way to get them into your messaging and your ecosystem. Ryan chose to go the humorous route, just because we just thought it was a great way to showcase what's possible. I don't think Ryan's going to get like a crazy amount of high intent leads. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, you are on this webinar, so we'll talk about actually some real life workflows kind of that'll happen out of this that people will experience. But yeah, guys, anything you can get someone to submit their contact info for that provides some sort of value, even if it's humor. Humor is valuable. It's entertaining. We love entertainment as humans. So expand your mind. Just remember, anything that can connect that email that somewhat relates to what your company does could get you into a creative kind of outbound flow. Now, that is sort of the humorous little lead magnet. And just to add to the humor, Ryan, let's show everyone how badly I got crushed this morning when I logged in. Can you see that? It's the snapper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, hey, Pete, came across on LinkedIn, wanted to share my first impressions. Pete probably, or should I say Pete probably of untold stories. I don't get the dash here. I think this is too highbrow for me, but you're the head of growth RBP. Explains why the rest of your profile feels like a rapid descent into an identity crisis. Identifying anonymous visitors, huh? Sounds like you're just stalking at a professional level. I mean, who needs superheroes when LinkedIn to push those real-time profiles straight to Slack? Thank you. We're really doing the Lord's work here. 100% free, polite way of saying low tier. I've seen better growth strategies. Vegetable garden, that one hurt. That one dug deep. Yeah, I mean, this is just a way to get humor. Now, from here, this is just step one. Let's give somebody like, and whether this is the roast or some other form of lead magnet, this is step one. Now, let's dive a little further, Ryan. Pitchlane just released an integration with RB2B. As I said, this is personally my favorite cold outbound tactic. I think it is the most underutilized. And with Ryan's tool, you do not have to create custom videos every single time. So Ryan, can you please show us a little bit of this integration? And then we're going to kind of dovetail that into showcasing a workflow through the integration. So if you want to just go through those two topics, weave in and out, however you will. Show us how we can actually take a lead magnet and get a really modern, results-driven campaign out the door.
Yeah, exactly. So really, with these lead magnets, the key thing is it's something that attracts people. That's why it's called a magnet. And, in this case, the LinkedIn roast is just like a funny thing to do that isn't exactly what my product does, but it's in the same realm, and it's something that our user base will find funny and appreciate. When you're coming up with your own lead magnets, you might want to go on typically value, and then it's whether you want to share like a guide or a checklist or like a mini SaaS tool, like a micro SaaS that's free or something like that. But at the end of the day, the key thing is getting them to your website, because now once they're on your website, you actually have a way of identifying them. And it's going to come to no surprise for everyone for me to say that way is using RB2B. And essentially, once you have that lead there that's engaged, you want to be able to convert them as well as possible. So that's where Pitchlane steps in, where you record just one video, and then with the data from RB2B on each prospect, it goes straight into Pitchlane, and then from Pitchlane, you can push it into a sequencing tool. So why don't I just show you how...
Real quick, I just want to show, so you can still have an exclusive piece of content that requires people to input their information. But as Ryan's saying, that this is going to allow you to, if you do choose to go the exclusive route, still capitalize on a number of folks who did not leave their info. Or if you choose to not go exclusive and just give out pieces of content, it's going to allow you to capture those as well.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And now if I just can you see the Pitchlane screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is the kind of dashboard of Pitchlane where you just have all your campaigns. I've just made a fresh account in Pitchlane. So literally, I'm just going to run you through how quickly it is to set it up so that you can start getting your leads from RB2B into Pitchlane, and then straight away what you want to do is then send it into a LinkedIn campaign. And essentially the reason why I've chosen this workflow when I was preparing for this webinar is essentially I've attended so many of these webinars where they show you these really cool, complicated workflows, and then it finishes, and then you want to try out what you've just seen, and then you realize you need to wait for 2 weeks for your emails to warm. You need to get a software, then you need to get another software, and then you need to subscribe to another thing, and then you need to join a community, and then you need to do all these things to the point where you're just like, hey, look, I just wanted to just test out and see what was going on. I didn't want to have to wait. I didn't want to have to spend money. I didn't want to have to be worried about if anyone was going to see it. So what this is the quickest way you can go from scratch where you are now to actually seeing something working and actually seeing the results of it. And I've actually, separately to this, recorded a loom of me going through all the steps that we can send over in the assets afterwards. So you can literally follow that step by step. So don't worry about taking notes, just watch me do it here. And then whilst you're then doing it afterwards, honestly, you should be able to do it in like 15 minutes, even less. So let me just show you. So you arrive at this screen once you've made a Pitchlane account. And what you want to do is create campaign. So I'm going to call this one RB2B example, and then we'll go create campaign here. Essentially, if you already have like a video, like here, you can upload it, but typically you're going to just want to record in Pitchlane. So if I just do that, and we actually have a RB2B template ready for you to use here. And then what you do, and then that has the notes that you will be suggested that you read out. And essentially how Pitchlane videos work is the first part, I always recommend make that the dynamic section, because that's going to change for each prospect so that it feels more personal to them. So you can make this a number of things. You can make it their website, their LinkedIn profile. In this example, we'll just use their website.
Is that the one so the dynamic part is gonna be that intro, which makes a ton of sense, right? You want to reference a specific pain point, a specific person, a specific company. So that makes total sense. Do you recommend keeping that as short as possible? The dynamic part?
So I recommend keeping the entire thing as short as possible. You really just want to get across why you're reaching out to them, who you are, why they should care, next steps, and just quickly as fast as possible. Quite often people, they'll ask me to write a script for them, and then they're quite disappointed in that it's just incredibly basic and simple. But that's kind of like the beauty of it. And really, for me, the key thing here is video is human to human. It feels one-to-one. So make the most of that. Don't try and pretend to be someone that you're not. Just take it how you would if you were just in your working day. Don't feel like you need to go get a haircut or go wear your best clothes or anything. Just something that conveys who you are. And the key thing here is you only need to record once. So here what we're doing is we're telling Pitchlane the first page is going to be the company website. The second page is going to be my website. So I'll put in Pitchlane, and here let's just fill out what the pain points are. So for me, it would be improve the conversions of your outbound processes. Asking because we help people to generally 2x the engagement rates of their outreach. And the thing to remember here is that they've already been on your website. They've either been on your website, seen your lead magnet. They already know a little bit about who you are. So really, you just want to go in for the kill and say, hey, like, is this an issue right now? And then straight into social proof and then a call to action. That's the approach that I really appreciate. I created this workflow just to kind of show exactly what's going on, and I go through this in the Loom as well. There is a kind of secondary approach you could take, where it's a bit more oriented around like LinkedIn, for example, and it's a lot more like, hey, my name's Ryan, just wanted to say hello. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know and we can have a chat. So there's different ways to approach it. There's the more relationship building approach versus the harder sell. And it really depends on who your target market is. Some groups need to get nurtured for much longer. Others make more like impulsive decisions. So typically the SMB segment, the hard pitch works better because they can just make a decision, yes or no. Whereas where I found when dealing with enterprise, you want to build that relationship first. So once you've decided what you're going to say, you just head into.
Real quick, that was so. I wanna drop this in my LinkedIn post follow up. Can you talk about that? So intro, pain points, social proof. Can you just one more time for everybody?
Yeah, of course. So essentially, I would have it. The first thing is I would go into seeing if they have the pain point that you help to address. So is this worth their time? Because that's like a hook.
Do you have this pain point? Yep, 100%.
Do you have this pain point? Asking because I have this social proof. And then the final thing is call to action.
Beautiful.
The alternative approach is like the more relationship building is, hey, my name's Ryan. I wanted to introduce myself. What can I do for you? And some further context on me is this is my industry. Let me know if I can help you. So that's the more really like nurturing approach.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an error between which one I prefer. Like some days I wake up and I'm just like hard sell straight away. Just, don't waste people's time. Straight away, let them know what you're about. And on the other side, then I want to build a relationship more. And it's to do with, who you're reaching out to.
Right.
With,
sure.
some, sales leaders, quite often I'll prefer the relationship approach because we have a podcast. And hey, if we don't sell them on the software, I'm still interested in maybe having them on the podcast. So the relationship is more important there rather than like a hard sell.
100%. Love that. Thank you for clarifying. That's super helpful for.
All good. All good. And feel free to butt in again, because otherwise I'm just going to be talking nonstop.
I love it. I love it. That's why I had you stop, because I was like, wait, I switched. I'm like, all right, I'll let you keep going here.
Cool. So essentially, yeah, this is like the recording booth. And what we're going to do now is just record the video. And essentially what I'm going to do is set timestamps for when different things happen so that our servers, when they're going to this person's website, can recreate it. So I'll add scrolling, I'll time when I change screen. So you'll see here it says not scrolling, and then when I press S on my keyboard, it will switch to scrolling, and then it will do that in the Pitchlane videos made.
So you actually get to control that. That's beautiful.
Hey, hope you're well. And I was just wondering whether you're looking to improve the conversions of your outbound process at the moment, because I was taking a quick look at your website, and I definitely think that we can help, and video might be something that your target market appreciates. And we've actually managed to automate video, which results typically in actually a 2x increase in the engagement rates that people have with their outreach. And I think this is relevant for you. So if I'm right, I put my availability in the booking tool to the right, and you can easily book a time for you if that's convenient for you, and we can chat then. But if not, no worries. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye-bye. And you can see straight away, go completely off script, but at least you have those prompts there to know roughly what you want to say. So you submit your video like that, and then this bit can take a couple mins just because we're kind of encoding things. And then what's really great is I'm now going to show you how quick it is to set up the RB2B integration. So now we just click RB2B, we'll select an API key. So I'll just create one. So RB2B demo webinar, create. And then now we'll just go and click that. So now we have the endpoint and we need to just head into the RB2B Pitchlane account. And here we are, we're on the integrations tab, and it's literally as simple as clicking into Pitchlane. So this will be empty for you because my one is here because obviously we're using it. But then I would just go in here, paste, send test event to your web, and we're done. That's it set up. And from now on, anytime RB2B identifies someone, that's going to push into Pitchlane. And you can see that there's a test video that will be made here. And yep, and now it's queued up and it'll be started to get made. And now that's you done. And literally all you need to do from there is then take these leads when they come in and either on a daily or weekly basis, just export them and import them into your chosen LinkedIn outreach tool. For those of you who are, quite good with automations, you can use like a webhook on video rendered. So once it's ready, and then you can take that and automatically push it in, or you can use Zapier to do so. But to be honest, like just export the CSV at the end of your day, and that's literally it. You're ready to go, and those leads will just, as long as you're exporting the CSV, will just end up in your campaigns. And you can see how easy that was. It took like no time at all.
But once you set it up, it's really just a matter of it's just making sure those leads are flowing through, the right leads are. We keep adding the ability to like apply certain groups of profiles to certain integrations automatically, or we're getting there step by step. But even just the daily, or every couple of days, really daily is going to be the move. You want people who went to your website to get that custom video in maybe 24 hours. Two things I want to mention, Ryan, about creating a great video. You created a great video very quickly there. And there was a couple components that I thought you crushed. One of which, and I want to recommend this to everybody, our cameras on our computer are generally right in the middle, or whatever. Mine's like a third party. It's elsewhere on my monitor. But when you're reading your scripts, and even in this video right now, I have a pretty big monitor, but my screen with Zoom is actually pretty small right now. That way, when I'm looking at Ryan, looking at the share screen, or looking at myself, it looks like I'm like right in the vertical alignment with the camera. So when you're recording these videos, we don't want to be looking over here or here. We want like as close as possible to be looking into the, what feels like you're looking into the eyes of the person, especially when you're saying their name, their company name, their pain point, things like that. So make sure you're aligned there. Also, if you haven't done a lot of video, write this script out, have an AI help you write out a script. As Ryan said, like keep it short, try to make it just a few sentences long, and just do a couple rehearsals. You can record, you can have as many attempts as you want. Make sure that final video doesn't have to be the best video in the world. Just make sure you're speaking clearly, articulating your idea well, looking at the camera, somewhat put together. All of that stuff will go a very, very long way. Make sure you have a good virtual background, or you're in a place in your house where there's a decent background. All these little things will affect the efficacy of your video. And you only have to do it once, so you don't have to like every day set, So anyway, I just wanted to highlight some of those important video characteristics.
Exactly. And like for me right now, it's what time is it? It's 2:30 a.m. I don't think I would be, if I was having to record these videos manually right now, I don't think I'd get a very, very high quality one in. But with this, you only need to record it once. And a trick that someone taught me is if you just get your finger and then just hold it up against your webcam, and then that helps you to focus and not look at your camera, really think about looking down the lens of the camera. So almost like you're seeing through it. And there are so many studies which show that humans are hardwired to pay attention and look back if someone is looking at you. That's, one of the reasons why so many, of the short form, the portrait videos that are doing so well are just someone who's staring directly at you, because it's just something that's hardwired for you. And I do appreciate if you're not someone who can go off the cuff really easily and you want to read a script, looking at the camera is going to be difficult because the camera isn't over, like the camera is obviously at the top of your screen, not laid over your screen. But one thing that I have been using is this. So it's a camera, it's a webcam that you clip onto the top of your laptop. And then what's quite interesting is it drops down. So it hangs over the middle of your screen. So you can read everything that's on screen and you're still looking like down the lens of the camera. I got this initially for sales calls. So I put it literally so that it's in front of them so I can read all their facial reactions. But to them, I am looking directly down the lens of the camera. So I have them like locked in. So that's like a little tip for you guys.
That's interesting. I like that a lot. I just not that we need more evidence, but I know like Google, Facebook have invested a ton of money into technology that helps video conversations and digital conversations feel more real and more connective. And a big way they're doing that is by trying to figure out this eye contact thing. It's all eye contact. So nothing we need more. Connie just asked for the brand of your camera. Well, like a little filibuster, you want to drop it, drop in a link for these folks or something?
It's actually called eye contact camera.
Eye contact camera, perfect. EYE.
Do you know? I think they might have missed a trick with that and just gone eye and riding off of the like iPhone wave, I imagine.
Oh wait, they did. No, that's what it is. Eyecontactcamera.com with an I, with a singular letter I. That'll get you there. That's great. If folks don't want to get a camera, just at least try to align with the top of the screen, your script, everything else. And even if you're looking up or down, you're at least head on, which is better than this or this. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I did not know that existed. I might have
no, it's really cool. My business partner got one, and then immediately I bought one the next day. But what that also did remind me of, probably my favorite feature with Pitchlane is, so with all this, outreach is changing. There are so many different ways in which you can now do outreach. But for me, the ones that do the best are where you can make them logic based, or it's not just you to them, it's you to them. They perform a certain action and then you do something, and there's like logic and triggers. And for me, the number one way to do this is to either set up a, for example, what I do is like with Zapier, anytime someone watches a Pitchlane video, that goes into a Slack channel. And then we'll have like either myself or a salesperson will just take their email address, Google it quickly, that will pop up their LinkedIn and send them a connection request being like, hey, just got a notification that you viewed the Pitchlane video. And just immediately just 30% more meetings. One of our users, I got on a call with her recently and I asked her, I was like, are you using this feature? She said no. And I was like, well, fantastic. You're now just going to get loads more results. And she just replied back yesterday being like, we just booked 5 meetings that we would have otherwise just completely not have.
And there are people that you're reaching out to. These are people that are already in your lead list. It's just a different tactic that is, again, very underutilized until all of a sudden everyone's sending videos, which I think maybe because people don't like recording themselves. I don't know what the barrier is to getting more people to record sales videos, but yeah, guys, at least try this out. We have RBW gives you that free access. Pitchlane's giving you that 14-day free access. Check this out. Ryan, unless you want to feature a couple more Pitchlane things, we're going to get into your founder journey, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end. But before we leave Pitchlane, is there any final little tidbits you wanted to cover?
Ooh, let me check. So I think that's really the highlight. The highlight for me is just get your video recorded. I'd also be really interested if people have good reasons as to why they haven't already done video outreach. A lot of the time it's because they don't know you can automate it. but get the video recorded, set it up with our B2B. You get free credits with Pitchlane. And when people view the video, so right now there's obviously only one, but you can filter here by viewed or not. Go that extra mile and then reach out to them and just say, hey, send them an email from like a follow-up from yourself, or connect with them on LinkedIn, or if you can call them, that is like the number one thing to do. I've previously even called someone whilst they're watching it, whilst they're watching the video, and they're like, whoa, what's going on?
There we go. That's how you get their attention.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
sending
yeah.
them for a while. I was doing them through, I would drop them into like LinkedIn messages as thumbnails, and like everybody would watch it. Like the watch rate, I'm not saying the response rate was 100%, but the watch rate was nearly 100%.
Yeah.
Which like that's all you would just want. We're just going for at bats here, right? We don't need bat 1,000. I don't know if you guys are baseball fans, but I barely am. But regardless, like we're just going for more opportunities here. Connie mentioned she recorded custom videos, got no response. That is unfortunately very common in the world of outreach, especially.
Well, Connie, add me on LinkedIn, send me the video, and I can give you some feedback as to why that might be the case.
Now we're talking. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, Connie, please do that. I'm gonna have Ryan share that with me too, because I am also curious. Ryan, you are on a journey. You've started this company that I think, just as I've said so many times, even our first call when we met, I think this is the most underutilized outreach tactic. Now, we've had a lot of folks on this show. She is Adams. When Adams hosted, he's had, I mean, recently we had the founder of Chili Piper on here. I mean, there's some fairly big name folks, but we really get a wide array. What I love about you joining is you showcased a creative solution to a really hard problem, which is the outreach game. And you're also on this journey yourself. You are a bootstrapped founder, a small team. You are trying, I mean, dang, you're up at 2:38 a.m. taking a call with me, right? Trying to make all these, everything possible. And I think a lot of our viewers are in a similar boat as well. You've built, me, Adam, RB2B, you all posted about this yesterday, getting a ton of attention, which we love. And it's really just because you've had a great product, came to us with interesting ideas for co-marketing, and it's purely been the merit of hard work. So please, we would love to hear how you started Pitchlane, where you are right now, and maybe a little bit of what the future journey might hold. So I'm going to go on mute while you tell us a little bit about your.
Perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, I might end up rambling on for another hour, so you might have to interrupt me. But as with all stories, a good place to start is at the beginning. So right at the start of my career, so I think a lot of people who are listening probably relate to the fact that growing up, I'd always wanted to run a business. And that was always the thing that I wanted to do. All my friends would want to be footballers and stuff like that. But I was like, no, I want to be a businessman. I want to watch Dragon's Den, which is the UK equivalent of, I think you guys call it Shark Tank. And I just used to love all that kind of stuff. And essentially, when I was at university, I was doing loads of different things. And actually, the company that I was looking to start then was actually we tried to invent a new way to recycle plastic, and we were working with a kind of a social enterprise in Gujarat in India to try and help them to employ people through this new way of recycling, which was a pretty crazy idea given that we had no background in anything particularly relevant, but things were kind of moving. And again, people will relate to when you're starting a business, you try loads of things, you just kind of you see where there's pull. And unfortunately, in my final year, that's when COVID struck, and then that kind of killed everything. So I was like, okay, what should I do? I want to start a business. I don't really have anything yet. I think back then, if I'd known a little bit more around like agencies and stuff like that, I probably would have gone into that, but I didn't. So I just joined an early stage startup that was as early stage as possible. So I was their first hire. and there were some really smart guys, and it was a app where you could connect it to your bank account and it would tell you the environmental footprint, the carbon footprint of what you'd purchased. And I got the job, and then 2 months later I started, and they were like, okay, we've pivoted, we're B2B. And I was like, okay, cool. And they were like, we're focusing on product. We want you to set up our outbound processes and really lead on our sales front. So here's all the training Y Combinator gave us, and you just go and learn. And so I literally just had to just try and work out everything from scratch. And across that job and then the next job, I tried loads of different things, but what really struck out at me was how effective video was. Video, it just felt like it was connecting with people. And someone wants the link for Pitchlane. Santosh, I'll let you do that. But I think a lot of salespeople will relate to the fact that when you're doing outreach, you do A/B tests, but really a lot of what you go off of is your instinct, because you don't need something that's 5% better. You need something that's 500% better. And video, it was just very obvious. This is an order of magnitude improvement. Like, this is just better.
As you're going through that early stage of trying to figure out like sales motions, marketing motions, especially when you have really small sample sizes of data to lean on. It's so funny you said that, because like I have found these decisions to be binary. It's like this either works or it doesn't, and it's very clear what working means and what not working. So anyway, as you said, sometimes you don't have the giant sample size. You're gonna have to go with your gut a little bit, but luckily those decisions can tend to be pretty clear, at least historically. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you go with your gut, you've at least got that to fall back on, that you went with what you genuinely thought. And so essentially, I went on to the next job I had, and in the end, that was another early stage company who there actually wasn't a really good fit between me and them. And I was like, cool. We kind of went our separate ways, and I was like, okay, cool. I've always wanted to start a business, and I've never done it. And then I heard of this term, wantrepreneur, someone who just wants to start a business but never does. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. I need to immediately make that not me. And I had this like vague idea that video was good. So I was like, okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pay someone off of Upwork, £200, which was a lot of money for me back then, and to build me the first kind of draft of Pitchlane. And it was absolutely terrible. It could make the videos, but it would make them one by one. So for a 1.5-minute video, it would take 2 minutes. And if you wanted 100, you'd have to wait 200 minutes, and it would crash all the time, and it was terrible. But what it did is it allowed me to run my first campaign. So I just shot out loads of LinkedIn messages being like, hey, look, this was generated automatically. Are you interested? That got some people, and there was interest here and there. And then I actually went on holiday. And whilst I was on holiday, I was just clearing my head. I was thinking, should I do this? Should I not? And I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should just get a job, get some more experience, and like I'll get like the perfect idea then. And so I was like, well, this software I paid £200 for, unsurprisingly, is terrible. But then the moment something changed is, I really vividly remember this, is that I got off the plane back in the UK, and the first message I got was from my best friend, who I'd completely forgotten that I'd installed the software on his computer for him. And he was like, this is better than any of my company's sequences. Like, it's done 2 to 3x. Like, this is crazy. Like, you're really onto something here.
This is the product that you're like, man, this is not what I was looking for at. Like the iteration at that time, right? It was like subpar to your standards. but someone's reaching out to you saying, hey, this is like the best thing I'm using so far.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what was actually really fortunate is that his work at the time said to him, the only way we're going to let you use your friend's random product is if you're very like calculated about it. You show a clear before and after, and you can report back to the team what the findings were. So I just had a perfect case study to start with, really well documented at the start, using video and then the results afterwards. So I was like, wow, like, you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to go all in on this. And then from there, I was very fortunate in that I set up an automation, I think using like Walaxy, because again, I had no money, but they did like an AppSumo. So I had a free lifetime account, and I scraped a LinkedIn event, a sales event, and I just sent like, the copy was, hey, first name, saw you're also attending this event. Seems like we're both trying to stay up to date with sales methodologies. Maybe we should connect, ? Sent that out, and was the worst campaign I ever sent. No, everyone who accepted was unqualified, except for one person who was running a software product, who just like a really early stage software founder. And that person was Patrick, who is now my co-founder, who I'm very, very fortunate to have, who is to be honest, like the dream in a co-founder, what you'd hope for, especially, and can code, which is, you know, a very useful skill that I found out to have if you want to run a software company, because not being able to do that and having no money is a really bad combination for the quality of your software.
Oh, so someone's got to build it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I love these. I love these decisions that you made off of really small but important signals. So as I said before, like if you work for kind of the larger company you work at and the larger marketing department you work at, the more data gets pushed on you to prove your decision making. As a bootstrap founder, you have both the lack of, usually as an early stage bootstrap founder, in the very, very early stages, you have very little data to go off of. But you also don't have to answer to anybody. So you could sort of make this big decision off of someone's recommendation. And there's sort of two schools of thought. Either you could look at the way that you approach that decision and say, Ryane really made an impulse decision off of anecdotal evidence by one person, right? But I would challenge that and say, well, it's really hard for Ryane to collect data. And, you know, Ryane trusts this person. He has vetted that they are an expert in their field, and the person is giving them honest feedback with data. So then you have to look at that situation and be like, okay, I don't have a lot of data. I only have one example, but what is the likelihood of this person being an outlier with the value they're finding out of my tool, which at your stage, you're like, this is not what I want to present to the world. This is just what I have so far, right? So you sort of took that, made an assumption that like, hey, if he has this opinion, the chances of other people having this opinion are very, very high. So you took what some people would say, that's anecdotal, that was actually stupid to make a decision off of. And you said, this is all I've got, and this is a strong enough signal, and I need to act. And I really like that, because there's the dichotomy of people wanting a ton of data to make decisions, but having no data at their disposal. And that's really tough. That is the bootstrap founder journey sometimes in a nutshell. There's a lot of vacuum thinking, but
Sure.
I love it.
Sure.
I'll let you continue. Let's go for
no, I think
minutes, and then we'll continue.
yeah, that actually kind of reminded me in terms of like, when you're bootstrapped, you have to be super sensitive to these things, and you kind of just follow your best guess at the time. Like, as you said, don't have loads to go off. This is the most probable way forwards, and then we go there. And yeah, essentially, from that point onwards, what's been really useful is, or really fortunate, is this massive increase in the technology that we have now for outbound, and being very fortunate in being able to meet people who are involved in that. So I met Liam Dunn, who works with people at Instantly. I met, luckily enough to meet VibeHav, and when I was traveling in Australia, who runs Smart Lead. And they're really pushing forwards this ability to do cold outreach at a new scale. And at that same time, we're now getting tools like Clay, Databar, Persona, who are allowing us to be able to be more targeted, more thoughtful. And that's just that puts a massive magnifying glass on stuff to do with Pitchlane, because if you can put better data into Pitchlane and you have better tools for sending the videos out, you're just going to do way better. So for example, our B2B into Pitchlane, those campaigns just are better than most campaigns that people run. So the partnerships and the market trends and adapting to those, and just the best guess of going towards that and weaving in and out, that's what's really worked well for us. And we've been quite fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, and we love what you're building. I hope a lot of folks here start to try it out today and throughout this week. Guys, if you have questions, you want us to review your videos, myself and Ryan, I don't want to speak for you. I'm definitely willing to review any video. Ryan, I'm sure we have to as well. Connect with us on LinkedIn. We want to help you through this journey. Before we get to Q&A, I want to just emphasize a really great point Ryan ended on there, which was, this is not about just blasting blanket messaging to whoever you can. Pitchlane and RB2B, and some of the other great tools you mentioned, Smartly. The most effective campaigns that people run using these platforms are ones that are well targeted, and they're well targeted from a lead standpoint, and then people take those leads and are able to target the different groups of people with different messaging at scale, to just have a more, impactful piece of outreach. So thank you for showcasing all that, Ryan. I want people to drop in throughout let's do our little call to action. I want people to drop in any workflows, tag us in the video, post it on LinkedIn, get feedback from people, like publicly source your feedback from us, from your network. You will quickly find that people love giving feedback, thoughts. They love showcasing their expertise to other folks in their field. That's what LinkedIn's all about. Ryan, let's do some Q&A. Let's answer some questions here. Folks, any questions you have about, setting up an outreach or an outbound campaign, utilizing video, segmenting, anything, we're here for questions. And while those are flowing through, Ryan, if someone's getting started, what do you believe? I assume they're only going to use one video, right? We're going to be attacking we're trying to go small here. What is the best way for somebody to set up their first campaign? Should they just focus on their largest persona, their most engaged with persona? So for me at RB2B, should I say, all right, I know I'm getting a lot of different leads through RB2B. I'm just going to look at the marketing executives, just those top marketing people. And I'm going to put those into Pitchlane, and I'm going to focus on one video just for those folks before I start trying to build out too many different ICPs. Is that the approach you'd recommend?
So do you know what? I actually think when you're at the very, very start of your journey, you have an advantage over everyone else at least my experience has been, people generally want to help you. Early stage founder who's trying to make something happen, people generally want to help. I've always found that I will give someone more consideration if they're like just starting off their business versus a sales rep who's working for an enterprise company. And that's because generally people want to help, and I think appealing to people's better nature and being transparent, almost vulnerable, to say, I would just reach out to everyone and say, hey, look, my name's Ryan and I'm doing XYZ. So for example, my name's Ryan and I'm helping I've just left my job as a marketing executive and I want to help companies with their marketing. I'm not sure who exactly is my best target market right now, but what I do know is I've got experience that has helped companies achieve XYZ. If this sounds like potentially there's an opportunity here, I'm open to exploring what you might need. So let me know and we can make something happen. So really leaning into that vulnerability and just transparency is what I would recommend at that stage.
I had found a similar thing. This just reminds me of a campaign, different company at the early stage a little while back. It was when we were asking for product advice that we got the most meetings.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help out with this. And we took that strategy from someone who at the time had reached out to us with a similar strategy or with a similar message. Like, hey, I'm a startup founder targeting X. We were helping this company, we were helping e-commerce businesses with their shipping. And they got us and they pitched us and we were like, man, we really need to try to replicate. And that's literally just articulated the same exact strategy. So I'm glad you did.
Nice.
Vanessa's got a question here. So she says, I have challenged to capture the attention of new clients, providing my nearshoring services. We get contact at the moment of follow-up, but no, people stop answering. So Vanessa, could you elaborate? Are you saying that people engage with that first message, maybe they open it or they respond to it, but as you begin communicating with them, it just sort of falls off? Is that sort of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I could definitely chime in on that. First of all, if it's an email, if they reply to you via email and their phone number is in the email signature, that's fantastic news for you because you should call them immediately. And the quicker you can call them, the higher the response rate is. Like, if you can call someone within 5 minutes of them replying to you, that's fantastic. And really depends, who you're targeting, because if you're targeting local businesses, you don't need their phone number in the email signature. You just call them based on the number that's on Google.
I like this. So they respond out of the email. Now it's time to escalate the medium. Calls, videos are all more personal than just an email. I think that could be a good way to take those people that responded, Vanessa, drop them in a Pitchlane, use 14 days, 14 free days, see what happens. And I love the call thing too. Like just try to navigate to a more personal medium. Message them on LinkedIn, just try to experiment and also try to maybe adjust what that follow-up messaging is. Perhaps that could be at play, but definitely medium and messaging. Yeah, definitely try out the phone. We got 1 minute left here. Ryan, this has been awesome. I'm going to post a follow-up, guys. We can continue the conversation in those comments. Ryan will chime in there as well. We'll drop the link to the roaster so you can see that. Also, as you see, what I want folks to do is, as you see communication after this event coming from Pitchlane, notice how you start to get wrapped into their marketing. Okay, so I know, for a week or two, just see who's reaching out to you, see those touch points, see if you get a video, see if Ryan's salespeople reach out to you, see how you're getting targeted and mimic that. Do just that. Pitchlane is fantastic at this. That's why Ryan's here today. Guys, this is the end of my little guest slot series. I know I can't technically hear the applause though.
I can hear the wailing of sadness that people are going to miss you.
No, Adam Robinson, he is back on Tuesday. Back to your scheduled programming. He's going to have Dave Rogan-Moser. He is the founder of Jasper. Jasper was generative AI before ChatGPT. So this is going to be a super cool conversation. Adam actually worked out of the Jasper office. He rented like a little, I don't want to call it a closet, but I think that's how he described it to me, from the Jasper office. Actually watched these guys scale this massive company right in front of his eyes. Really inspired him to kind of take retention to the next level. Dave's going to have a ton of great insights into how he scaled, what happened when ChatGPT released, how Jasper's taking on the market now. definitely come see that next week. This recording will be live on YouTube and RB2B Academy tomorrow morning. I'm going to post a recap this afternoon, guys. Let's continue the combo. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining, staying up. It's 3 a.m. in Thailand. Get to bed, please. And for everybody else, have a lovely day. We will see you next week.
Thank you very much, Pete. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Great stuff, Ryan. Thank you, man.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.